following is a special presentation of Raycom Sports, home to regional college football and basketball.
Day one of the ACC tournament about to come to a close. Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, Maryland have all won. Now it's the number 6 seed, the Eagles of Boston College, taking on the 11 seed, the Cavaliers of Virginia. And we'll be back to join our game announcers, Steve Martin and Mike Jaminski, and get this final game underway from here in Atlanta.
For 30 years, Raycom Sports has been a leader in televised college sports. Our games featuring the best of the Atlantic Coast Conference have provided an ongoing source of entertainment for fans across the region. From each football Saturday to the weeknights and weekends of basketball, we are proud partners with the ACC, a conference with a tradition of excellence. Then, now, and always. Count on Raycom to provide the excitement of your home team in your home market on your local broadcast station.
Welcome back to Atlanta as the first round about to come to an end. Let's take a look at our Food Lion starting lineup. These two teams met once during the regular season in Charlottesville. And it'll be Calvin Baker, Sylvan Landisberg, Mamadi Diani, of course, Mike Scott and Tunji Suroye for Virginia. For Boston College, Tyrese Rice, of course, Rakim Sanders, Corey Rock, Joe Trapani, and Josh Southern. And there's Sylvan Landisberg, your ACC Rookie of the Year. Tyrese Rice just 7 points away from becoming the 5th all-time leading scorer in Boston College history. And we are just about ready to go. The first game of the evening session got done early. And Maryland in a thriller defeated NC State 74-69. They will meet, Maryland will meet Wake Forest. The winner here will take on the Duke Blue Devils in the quarterfinals tomorrow night.
Let's see if Virginia, Steve, getting a little pop off of beating Maryland in their final regular ACC season game, senior night up in Charlottesville. Mamadi Diani, they got the ball right now, having a huge night in that game.
23 points he did. Here's Landisberg. Speaking of 20-point outings, he's had 13 this season. Calvin Baker has played well down the stretch for the Cavs. Takes the game's first shot. It's rebounded by Josh Southern.
Boston College wants to have an up-tempo game. They want to really get up and down the floor. They want to try to turn Virginia over as much as they can. If they feel like they can win a scoring match against this group.
Kim Sanders just gave it up to Tyrese Rice. Baker on Rice out on the wing. Here comes a screen. That leaves Southern open inside, but he passed one time too many.
And they didn't even worry about Josh Southern on that pick and roll right there, just staying with Tyrese Rice, making him give the ball up.
Here's Scott, big step to the basket and overstepped the shot. But Landisberg recovered. Diani. Shot fake, quick shot, and Virginia on the board.
Let's see if Diani can break his streak. He's been on an every other game scoring binge down the stretch here. We talked about that coming off for 5 games. It's either been feast or famine. Double figures in 3, 0 points in the other 2.
He has 1,000 points for his career at Virginia with that basket. We got a whistle and a foul coming up. Let's take a look at our 4 keys to the game, Mike. What's important to each of these teams to get it done and move on to the quarterfinals?
Well, Virginia, I think a confident start, Steve. In Charlottesville, BC really jumped on them. We're ahead by 20 at the half. And for Boston College, flex your muscles, get inside. They shot 68% in the first half, 50% for the game. They run that unique style of offense. They want to try to pound it inside.
Ball lost by Boston College on the inbound with half-court pressure from Virginia.
This was a problem in the game in Charlottesville. BC had 20 turnovers in that game, and really Virginia is not a team that's going to get into you and force a ton of turnovers.
Comes Baker on Rice, erased by Southern, taken by Trapani. And the Eagles on the move in search of their first basket. Erased by Suroye at the other end.
I've done BC games, Steve, where Rice has really been slow to work into the game.
There's Coach Al Skinner in his 12th season. Basket coming down the baseline.
21.
Foul is going to be charged to Suroye.
Virginia foul number 21, Tunji Suroye.
Corey Raji is a very capable scorer in the paint area. Very good offensive rebounder. Just under 10 points per. Was a one of those microwave guys off the bench last year, but has really settled into the starting role.
60% from the floor last year, 51% this year. Hits the three-point play. The BC ahead here. Boston College in here as the 6th seed with a 21-10 overall record, 9-7 in the conference. Diani. Along the perimeter, he'll take the three. Soroye with a miss, but it's slapped as he brought it down. Weiss will have it. 3-on-3 break. Trapani will score.
Boy, Therese Rice really, just over 5 assists a game, really making a nice decision. And Trapani has had a fine first year with Boston College after transferring from Vermont.
Here's Landisberg, misses his first shot at it, and it goes out of bounds. It'll be Boston College ball. Landisberg out of Flushing, New York. And there's Coach Dave Lato in his 4th season. A young team where 67% of the points came from freshmen and sophomores.
He has really found a star in Landisberg, though, and it's amazing. A lot of times the freshmen will hit that wall in the middle of the ACC season, or the other teams will really figure out on the scouting report, but it doesn't seem to have happened to him.
Kim Sanders with great speed on the baseline forces the foul by Diani. Be his first, and quickly Virginia's forced into their 3rd team foul.
And Kim Sanders really kind of a prototypical Al Skinner type of player, that big wing player who's got a nice outside stroke but is strong enough to go inside, very good on the glass.
He's won 2 games for him, Mike, in last-second situations.
And clutch shooter is always a nice thing to have, too.
That's right.
So that's something to keep tucked in the back of your mind if this game gets close down the stretch, that you think about Rice, but Sanders is a guy who has buried shots.
Here's Southern getting out of the double team. Goes to Trapani for 3. And we got a whistle and a loose ball foul. And it looks like it's going to be on Tucker. Jamil Tucker, who came into the game. Closed captioning for today's telecast is provided by Bojangles. You've got to need to get ahead of Bojangles.
Well, that's what I talked about, Raji, Steve, that half of his career rebounds are on the offensive glass, so he's going to work hard, and because he did it on that play, he picks up a foul, and they get a recycle of possession.
Tucker picks up the 4th team foul for Virginia, his first. Virginia in a zone. They use this with great success against Clemson. They force the steal. 3rd turnover, up and over for the dunk, Diani.
Very athletic play off the wing, and Diani just looks like a completely different person. Steve saw him early in the season, had no confidence at all.
Sanders is rebounded by Raji, and that's a typical Corey Raji basket.
Yeah, 6.2 boards per. Talked about half of them are on the offensive glass. You've got to give yourself up as a rebounder and just face guard him.
Tucker takes a strong drive, can't get the dunk. Raji with the rebound. Now with that dunk by Diani, it just all of a sudden sped the game up for both teams. Trapani feeds inside to Raji. Overshot, wanted a foul on Tucker. Baker with it the other way. Landisberg drives and scores.
He's such a crafty offensive player, Steve. He just loves to get into the lane, to shoot that little floater. He's got an incredible knack of getting to the free throw line.
He wants the ball in his hands when the game comes to an end.
Yep, and he has really been a revelation for this program.
Here's Trapani, baseline drive. Rebound Southern, up and in, plus a foul. Count the basket. Foul coming up on Virginia as Boston College opens up a 9-6 lead. They'll go to the foul line when we come back. ACC basketball presented in high definition where available by MFS Investment Management, a diverse range of products so advisors can choose what fits. Let's have a look at our Toyota tournament brackets and show you what's happened in its first round today of the 56th ACC Tournament Championship. Brought to you by Toyota. Of course, Virginia Tech beating Miami handily. They'll face North Carolina in the quarterfinals on Friday. If Georgia Tech, upset of the seeds, is 12, takes out 5, they earn a date against Florida State in the second quarterfinal game. And then Maryland, got by NC State, overcame a 21-8 deficit, tied it up at halftime, and went ahead at the end. They earn a spot against Maryland, and of course the winner of this game will take on Duke in the final quarterfinal of our quarterfinal Friday coming up tomorrow here in Atlanta. This is Josh Southern up for 3.
And if you look at, Steve, just from the NCAA implications, it's certainly Virginia Tech and Maryland, 2 critical games for them tomorrow. And Virginia Tech and a chance during the regular season to have Duke and North Carolina at their building. Didn't win either of those games. So I think obviously that one more important for them. Maryland helping their cause with the win tonight.
It's a very inexact science trying to guess what the selection committee is going to do, but it seems the consensus is that both have to have designs on getting to Sunday, which would be a major upset of this tournament if that happened. Here is Rice up in the front court. Rice with the runner doesn't go. Scott, who went off with an aching shoulder at that last timeout, comes away with the rebound for Virginia. Boston College by 4. Mamadi Diani takes Southern baseline and scores.
And that's just a mismatch, and Diani recognized that. Excellent job. You get a big like that, don't settle for the jump shot. Try to get to the rim, and just again, I'll state, it's like there's a different player in the number 24 uniform for Virginia at this point.
He's got 6 of their 8 points, Mike. Here's Sanders in the lane, waiting for an opening patiently. He does not get it, but gets the rebound. Boston College, one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the league, headed, as Mike has said, by Corey Raji. But Southern and Sanders get their fair share. Raji takes the mid-range. Southern fights for the rebound and gets the stick back.
Well, he's been terrific inside all over the offensive glass. That time he was involved in a screen roll with Rice and then dove right to the front of the rim.
Boston College 6-1 in offensive rebounds over Virginia. Here's Calvin Baker with a wish that doesn't work. Raji into front court. BC by 4. And Scott comes away with a rebound.
Yeah, you get the sense that Rice is going to start to look for his own offense and get into the game.
Landisberg, a nice little floater. A splay-legged floater from Landisberg.
Tough shot, too, for a right-handed player going left. Takes a lot of concentration to get your shoulders squared up.
Catch and shoot. Raji doesn't get it. And we've got a whistle on an over-the-back foul. And I think it's going to be on Trapani. Let's take a look at our Verizon Wireless Text of War. Get your cell phones ready. Time for our interactive feature. And we want your answer to this question. Who will get to 20 points first? These two guys have done it very well all season. Sylvan Landisberg has done it 12 times. Tyrese Rice has done it 13 times. Who will get there first tonight? Text your answer, A1 or A2 to 55333. There's Tyrese Rice. He's taking a break right now.
Well, it just shows you the depth of players in the league when he's a second-team All-ACC this year.
Boy, that was tough to try to assign 5 guys to those spots, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Zaglinski is in for his first look at the action. The rebound, Trapani on the miss.
I tell you, as a coach, I'd take my chances with the second team against the first.
It's that good this year in this league. Sanders drives and lays it over the front of the rim. 14-10 Boston College.
And I'm really going to be curious to see him next year, Steele. I'm not going to get ahead of myself right now, but when with the departure of Tyrese Rice, what Sanders blossoms into for Boston College.
Jeff Jones is in the ballgame now for the Cavaliers. Here's Scott out of the low post on Trapani. He'll take the hook shot and miss, but there's a foul coming up. And it's going to be on Trapani. That's going to be his second.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup, and one I think that Mike Scott has an advantage of physically. And the key thing here is he recognizes there's no double team coming down, so he can take his time. He gets to his right, his left shoulder in on that jump hook. He really has a solid low box game.
Trapani from time to time has gotten himself in a little bit of foul trouble. And of course Al Skinner's had to use him sparingly, and now he's going to come out with his second foul, and Tyler Roach is going to come in. Hooks at New Hampshire. Landisberg with a brief rest. Diani comes out as Dave Lato spun the wheel with some twos early. He had Zaglinski and Jones coming into the ball.
Yeah, but again, going back to that matchup with Trapani, I think for him that they've got to send some help down with Scott just from a physical standpoint.
Shot by Scott goes. (14-11). Boston College in the lead over Virginia here. First round action in the ACC tournament in Atlanta. Corey Raji.
Matchup zone now for Virginia.
Inside, Raji maneuvers around it and scores. 7 points for Corey Raji to lead the Eagles. Scott, or Jones rather, gets back to Zaglinski. Landisberg with a shot fake. Hassan Sen is in the game. Jones with a jumper. Scott with a rebound. Too hard off the glass. Sen sticks it back, doesn't go. This is Scott again, and a foul. Mike Scott, the sophomore from Chesapeake, Virginia, comes through and gets the basket, and he'll be going to the line to complete the old-fashioned three-point play. The Cavaliers trail Boston College here by 3. 11:47 left to go in the half. Our principal financial group edge of the game, Corey Raji and Josh Southern. 12 points, 5 for 8 from the field. The rest of the team, 4 points and 2 for 9, and that includes Tyrese Rice.
Both Raji and Southern doing a nice job on the offensive glass for BC.
Both of them.
Yeah, and you look down at that last flurry by Virginia. That was the issue that actually kept them in the game in Charlottesville. 18 offensive rebounds for Virginia. They didn't capitalize on a lot of them, but they were able to get in there and get second chance opportunities. And the guy at the free throw line right now, Mike Scott, one of the best offensive rebounders in the conference.
Overall rebounders. Look at what he did against Clemson. He got double-double there, 1 of 8 that he had on the season. Shot boarded by Rakim Sanders. The foul was charged to Rice. Vico Paris is in the ballgame now for Boston College, running the point. Gets it immediately into the paint to Raji, who dishes it out. Here's the shot by Sanders. He's fouled by Zaglinski, and it's going to be a 3-point shot, I believe. Sanders was standing in the corner just behind the line. Woodman of the World scores earlier today. Georgia Tech stunned Clemson. In the Big East, a stunning upset. Bob Huggins' team a winner. Conference USA, Memphis beats Tulane.
You know, Stephen, it's funny watching Clemson over the last couple of weeks. It just seems like they've lost their sense of urgency in games. And, you know that they're in the NCAA tournament, but you can't just click that light on. And they really need to get themselves right over the next week after they find out where they're going to be opening round.
Sanders makes the second of a 3-shot foul situation, and into the game comes freshman Reggie Jackson from Colorado Springs, Colorado. He replaces Corey Raji, gets his first break of the game after 8.5 hard-fought minutes.
It's amazing that Al Skinner consistently finds guys like the Rakim Sanders and the Reggie Jacksons who weren't maybe highly recruited by all the major powers, but they fit into that system and they blossom into really good college players.
They found one in Colorado Springs in Jackson, but he didn't have to go far to find Rakim Sanders, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, far from the Boston College campus. Landisberg to the left hand. And he is fouled as he went in. He's been kind of quiet in this first half. And the foul's going to be on Jackson. And coming up at halftime, the Hardy's halftime report. And Mike Hogwood, who's been here since 5 this morning, will have analysis, highlights, stats, and more. We get 2 4-game days to work here. And Mike never leaves the building. He has a...
Well, no, you and I do the fireman's hold, and we carry him out of here at the end of the night.
Exactly.
Get him back on the shuttle going to the hotel.
Silva's Landisberg tied with Brian Stith at 6 Rookie of the Week awards in the ACC.
Let's forget Scotty P, too. He's been here since the early dawn hours.
Exactly. Vico Paris' first shot is still batted around, and it's lost out of bounds. It'll be Virginia ball.
But this, Steve, for me, that the 9:30 game was always really hard. I mean, it just never seemed like it came. And mentally, just to keep preparing yourself for it, it's just a very difficult task. And I think both of these teams have fallen into a rhythm in this game relatively easily.
That's why I got married at 10 a.m. in the morning. Don't waste any time. Don't leave your best game. Leave your best game in church. Roach with the steal ahead to Rakim Sanders. The basket's good, and the foul's on Zaglinski.
That was a very impressive catch by Sanders running away, and that was a pretty feathery pass by Rice over the top, too.
This is the largest lead of the game.
Here's the look, right over the top, and boy, when you can catch it in stride, not even put it on the floor and get to the rim for a 3-point play, that was about as perfect a pass as you could throw.
He'll have 1 shot.
Seems to fit in with what BC likes to do. Straightest line to the basket.
They feel like they want to get out and run against Virginia. They want a game that's in the high 70s, mid 80s.
Boston College now 5 of 6 from the line, and they have an 8-point lead, biggest of the game. Landisberg on the wing. Landisberg, stutter step drive. Don't think the basket will count. The foul is going to be charged to Courtney Dunn. Dunn picks up the foul. That's going to be his first. 15 foul now on Boston College. Ball underneath now here for Virginia. Landisberg to Jeff Jones. Landisberg at the foul line. Turns around and quickly creates that opening for the shot. He's got 6. The lead is cut to 6.
Hey, look at Landisberg, a capable three-point shooter, but he's really improved his range and his ability to knock that shot down. And all that does is enhance his ability to get into the lane area on the drive.
Good half-court defense by Virginia, forcing Jackson to select a deflection off Baker.
I think the book really on Landisberg kind of in the middle of the season was to give him space and make him prove himself from the perimeter, but he became a capable enough jump shooter that he answered that challenge on the scouting report.
Well, there didn't seem to be, even though he wasn't a captain, a question as to who their leader was. He took over that lead nicely. Here's Roach with a nice basket off the baseline.
Tyler Roach is a guy who can come in, and if he gets some early confidence, he can really give them a lift offensively. Very good three-point shooter, but very much a confident scorer that has to taste some early success.
Because Joe Trapani's been in foul trouble. He's DQ'd 4 times and had 4 fouls on 2 other occasions. Roach has gotten a lot of action. Coming in, Jamil Tucker.
Jamil Tucker, number 12.
Kenji Soroye goes out. Look at the Woodman of the World scoreboard. Syracuse and Connecticut wrapping up the quarterfinal round action in the Big East. And they're just getting them away in the Pac-10 out west. Inside, Roach gets it, but Baker beats him to the spot. There's a scramble for it. Lost out of bounds, and it's going to be Boston College board.
Probably not a pass that Reggie Jackson, there's not much that Tyler Roach is going to do with the ball, even if he caught it in that situation. So just let him go by and try to work another angle.
Bounds it comes to Paris. 15 on the shot clock this possession for Boston College. Paris inside, Dunn, wide open.
Well, that's a couple times now they've run that play where they get 2 screens across the top, and the first screen drops down to the front of the rim. Josh Southern got a basket earlier. Now Courtney Dunn gets a scoring opportunity.
It's a 9-2 run for Boston College. It blows their lead up to 10, 25-15. 8:45 left till halftime. Low post pass to Scott. Moves in on Dunn, fires, misses, but he travels with the ball. Turnover now for Virginia. Is their third. Boston College with 3. Raji and Southern return. Paris and Dunn go out. Good minutes for the 2s for Al Ginner. When your reserves can come in and hold the lead and then maybe blow it up a little bit.
That's the best of all worlds for sure.
Rice on the wing. Here's Jackson. Roach steps out. Raji trying to get into the paint. We got a whistle, and boy, Raji and Tucker are just going at each other, and Tucker gets caught, and he'll be called for a foul. This broadcast is a copyrighted presentation. Any use of it without the express permission of Raycom Sports and the ACC is prohibited. Steve Martin here along with Mike Jemensky, but we don't stop there. Mike Hogwood and Scott Przlonski also here as we bring to a close the first round of the ACC tournament, the 56 renewal.
Steve, I love the way that last play was constructed because you had a cross screen by Rice, and when you do that on a point guard with an interior guy like Raji, you can't switch that play. So Raji was able to get across the lane and get a foul, and that's why Tucker got caught in that little interplay. And anytime you can get your point guard willing to go inside and screen bigs, usually good things are going to happen.
That time, and Raji gets the ball inside, and now Boston College is 6 for 7, Mike, off the free throw line. They're looking good there as their lead grows to 11.
Yeah, in the game in Charlottesville, 31 attempts, made 26 free throws, so they were a +3 in that category. This is a very difficult offense to defend.
Mustafa Farrakhan is in the ball game. He's got the handle. Calvin Baker alone misses the 2. Rebound captured by Tyrese Rice. Rice has the ball taken from him by Baker. We've got a whistle and a foul coming up. It's going to be on Calvin Baker. Timeout on the court. 7:55 left to go. The Eagles' lead has grown to 12. Atlanta, one of the many things that you can do in this grand city of the South, and the host of the ACC tournament in 2009, the 56th renewal. And it's seen quite a day here so far. Virginia Tech has advanced. Georgia Tech has advanced. And earlier this evening, the Maryland Terrapins have advanced. Virginia Tech will take on North Carolina. Georgia Tech will battle it out against Florida State. And there's Tyrese Rice against Virginia on February 4th in Charlottesville. The only meeting between these two. It was 20 points. He's yet to score.
Well, that was the thing, Steve. I was talking earlier about him, and I've watched him this year, and he seems a little more willing to let his teammates work into the game. You know he's going to find his offense at some point, but given the fact that he has not scored in this game with DC up 12, very good indicator for the Eagles.
Eagles are shooting 48%. They have 17 rebounds to 9 for Virginia. 6 to 4 is the edge on the offensive board. Virginia shooting only 35%.
His assist to turnover ratio is still not great for a point guard, but his decision making has gotten better. And he first came to BC, he was just a stone gunslinger, and he was a shooter, and he's really become a leader on this team and a playmaker.
Landisberg does not get a look. Raji's on him. We speculated as to what the defensive matchup would be in a man-to-man. Mamadi Diani now back into the ball game for Virginia.
Raji's got the quickness and the length to bother Landisberg out on the perimeter and then stay with him inside.
Baker left it short. Southern gets yet another board. Rice into front court, sees Jackson. Roach paying long minutes in place of Joe Trapani. He's got 2 quick fouls here in this first half. Into the paint they go to Courtney Raji. And let's head to the sidelines and Scott Brzezowski.
Well, you look at Virginia right now with just 15 points, and guys, it's just come from 3 players too: Landisberg, Diani, and Scott. And Virginia is a team which has struggled to score at times during games, and they really hit droughts. They need some other guys, obviously, to start putting the ball in the hole.
Yeah, Landisberg sometimes is out there alone offensively for any consistency.
Well, in the loss in Charlottesville, they only had 2 double-figure scorers. You talk about an island. Landisberg had 32. Jones was the only other one at 10.
Diani on the wing. Can't get the shot to go. This drought for Virginia has lasted since the 10-16 mark, going into its 4th minute. In the meantime, Boston College has pushed their lead to 14. Raji, baseline drive. Rebound Landisberg.
Southern did a nice little job of setting the screen. Those are the type of plays you got to finish.
Diani fingers a 3, and that breaks the drought. Mamadi Diani with 9 to lead Virginia, who trail Boston College by 11.
He had some injury issues earlier this year, Steve, and I think he was a player that was affected by the new 3-point line because he used to really toe up the old one. And it only sounds it's only a foot farther out, but still, I mean, the numbers don't lie, and he has struggled with the new line until recently.
Both teams have struggled with the 3 tonight. That's the first 3-pointer of the game. Inside 6, we got a whistle.
Legal screen.
Illegal pick.
It's going to be Rice on the backside.
That's going to be his second. Let's take a look at our Haviland defensive shield. Turnovers in ACC games: Virginia 15-2, Boston College 13-9. And you see the recap of the first meeting. BC with 20 turnovers. How does a team win committing 20 turnovers?
Well, and the thing is that, Virginia had 20 more shot attempts, but they only shot 33% in the game. And BC was very efficient, 52% for the game, 68%, and they built the lead up.
No basket there by Diani. We have a foul coming up. An offensive foul is going to be charged to Virginia, and it's going to be to Farrakhan.
Number 2 foul.
It's amazed me since they've come into the league, Steve, watching BC, that they have an uncanny knack. Very few teams dictate tempo to them. They always seem to be able to grab hold of a game and play exactly the way they wanted to, like they did down in Chapel Hill earlier this year.
They grind you down and look for openings. The ball off Tyrese Rice's leg and out of bounds. It's going to be Virginia ball with 5:26 left to play. Virginia lost 4 of its last 5, finished the season with a win over Maryland. Came up with back-to-back wins in the middle of the month of February over Clemson and Virginia Tech. Farrakhan hits the 3. Now all of a sudden the 3 ball starting to fall for Virginia, and they've cut it down to 8.
And he's a guy whose minutes have been all over the board, too. In the belly of the season, he had a run of a few double-figure games. He had 17 and 12 minutes against Virginia Tech. So Mustafa Farrakhan is a very capable scorer when he gets on a run.
Raji with a pass through the top. We're under 5 to play. Southern in the post. Left it short. The rebound out there for Farrakhan, and he and Landisberg are in a foot race. And we got a whistle and a travel violation. Pass a difficult one because it came behind him. Closed captioning for today's telecast is provided by Bojangles. You gotta want to need to get ahead of Bojangles. You put dirty rice all over. I know way too much about our food sponsors. 4:34 left to go, first half.
You're talking your sleep, you probably rattle that one off. Whereas Mike Hogwood, our host, sings "Sails with the Pilot."
Here's Southern with an offensive board, goes up, just won't make it over the top of the rim. And Rice passes out to Roach. He'll try a 3. Boston College still without a 3 in this game, despite 5 attempts. Landisberg at the front court. Here's a deep 3 by Jones off the glass. They're getting frantic as if there's only 9 seconds left instead of 3:59 in this first half. Boston College up by 8. Virginia going to slow things down here and get things settled. Scott has a pretty good moving screen going on Southern. Here's Landisberg, shot is blocked, but we got a foul coming up. Timeout on the court with 3:38 left in the first half.
Options are good.
Shiny.
And when you shop for groceries, you sure have plenty to choose from.
Flashy.
If you're looking for good food that's also a good value, switch and save with Food Line brand products. You'll enjoy national brand quality at a much more affordable price. Satisfaction guaranteed. Food Line brand products. National brand quality. Better price guaranteed.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Pepsi, by Verizon Wireless, by your Carolina Chrysler dealers, by Bud Light, by RBC Bank, by Gillette Fusion, and by Food Lion.
We welcome you back to Atlanta. There are the sites at the Georgia Aquarium, which is all part of this huge complex that includes the Georgia Dome, the Georgia World Congress Center, and also Phillips Arena and a whole bunch of other stuff here near Centennial Park. 3:38 left to go here in the first half. Boston College with a 9-1 edge on the free throw line, and that shows up in their 8-point lead.
Steve, you look at Virginia, and this is Landisberg has missed his 3rd free throw now. If Landisberg and Scott aren't getting there with regularity, not a lot of other people visit the line. So they're really going to drive that number.
Landisberg is an 80% free throw shooter, but he's part of the 1 for 6 routine that they put up right now. He's 0 for 2, now gets his first. Landisberg with 7, ACC Rookie of the Year. Probably stands to have the highest scoring average by any Virginia freshman. Came into this game averaging 18.
To some freshman All-American teams already, and third leading freshman scorer in the country. Seth Curry still leading the way at Liberty.
Raji. Roach passes off to Sanders. Rice.
See, that's in his first 2 years, that's a shot he would have taken.
Here's Southern inside with a left hand. Nice move by Josh Southern. He's got 7. Boston College's lead is 31-22.
Already a couple of points past his average, so BC they're getting lifted here early in this first half by people that don't normally contribute that much.
The last 4 games, Southern 8 points, 12 for 18 from the field. He normally averages about 5. We're under 3. Shot by Farrakhan, hurried with a defender in his face. Rice into front court now for Boston College. Rice on the wing. Cross to Sanders. Gianni covers up. Sanders with a second start in there, banks it.
That's just strength right there. They ran a little flare screen for Sanders. They covered it up, but he has the ability, if you get out on him, to get into the paint area.
Farrakhan gets down deep and forces the foul. And it looks like it's going to be on Tyrese Rice. Time to update our Verizon Wireless Text of War poll. We're asking you, who will get to 20 points first? Will it be Sylvan Landesberg or will it be Tyrese Rice? Well, right now, the vote is headed in Sylvan Landesberg's favor. Add your voice to the vote. Text your answer, A1 or A2 to 55333. And thanks for participating in Verizon's Text of War. We'll update it later. Rice picks up the foul now and has his second. And this will be Mustafa Farrakhan onto the line out of Harvey, Illinois. Sophomore. His playing time has been sporadic in the second half of the season, and that's his first free throw miss of the season.
Of the year, 18 in a row, and that went 19 all the way back to his last one last year.
Virginia now 2 for 8 on the line, so they're leaving it on the stripe.
And I firmly believe, Steve, that bad free throw shooting is contagious. And then both of these teams are very good from the stripe, but all of a sudden your teammate, especially when you see Landesberg, one of your best players, missing at the line, you get there and you put a little extra pressure on yourself.
And Farrakhan did just that, missed 2, but Scott picked up the rebound to save the possession as we get to the 2-minute mark. Scott's 1 for 3, Landesberg's 1 for 4. Jones. To the wing, Jones for 3. Jeff Jones hits the triple, third triple of the game for Virginia. 33-25.
And it was that one extra pass that really got him set up. He caught it in rhythm. Not a great three-point shooter at 28%, but was wide open there, and as I said, caught it in rhythm.
Had 10 points and 5 rebounds the first time these two teams met. Sanders in the low post on Diani, turns. Scott can't come down with a rebound, but Landesberg does, and Virginia breaks out 4 on 2, and we got to travel. Cannot live with prosperity. That is going to be the 6th turnover here for Virginia. Quarterfinal round of the ACC tournament tomorrow. North Carolina against Virginia Tech. The question for North Carolina, how much will, or if all, will Ty Lawson play? Second game of the day tomorrow afternoon. Florida State and Georgia Tech. Here's Jackson. This is Sanders. We're under a minute to play in the first half. With Tim Sanders. Inside, scores with people hanging off him. He's got 11.
They're running that little tight flex inside, and that is a tough matchup for Diani. I think that Sanders has got a decided strength advantage, and he just powered through him on the box.
The lead is 10 for the Eagles. Landesberg on the crossover, lost the handle. Jackson with the steal. Here's Biko Paris. Sanders gets the rebound and scores.
Big swing right here. Boston College finishing out the last minute and a half very strongly.
Virginia jumped out to the 2-0 lead. They haven't seen the lead since. Boston College by 12. Farrakhan will walk the clock down to under 6. Makes his move down the lane. Sanders was waiting. Farrakhan missed. Sanders with a rebound in the first half comes to an end. It's been Boston College from the line, from the lane, and from the rebounding category. Rakeem Sanders leads the way into the locker room. Boston College with a healthy 12-point lead. Mike Hogwood comes back with a Hardy's halftime report here. ACC first round action. Boston College 37, Virginia 25.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Ruby Tuesday, by your Carolina Jeep dealers, by Haviland, by Woodman of the World Life Insurance Society, and by Toyota.
Now, and Boston College in control over the Virginia Cavaliers, 37-25. There's only one player in double figures in this game, and it's Boston College's Rakeem Sanders. You saw him at the end of the first half. A couple of big buckets for the Eagles. He has 13 first half points. Corey Raji with 9. Mamadi Diani leads Virginia with 9 points in the first half. And this is the fourth and final game of this first day of this 2009 ACC tournament. I want to catch you up now on what has happened earlier today. First of all, Miami, Virginia Tech. Adi Visayo with 14 for the Hokies. Malcolm Delaney had 17. J.P. Thompson also played well. 65-47 there. Second game, Georgia Tech taking on Clemson. Tech, the 12 seed, tied at 39 at halftime. Lewis Clinch, a career high 32 points to lead Tech to an 86-81 win. As we look now at our Bud Light scoreboard, that's the lowest point total of the year for the Miami Hurricanes, those 47 points that they put on the board today. Also on our scoreboard, the other game that was played here in the evening session, Maryland beats NC State 74-69. This was back and forth most of the game. There were 21 lead changes in that game. Baylor upsets Kansas. Kentucky in the SEC tournament beats Ole Miss. And how about Mississippi State beating Georgia 79-60. Back with more of our Hardy's halftime report from here in Atlanta in just a moment. ACC fans, take control of the game. Log on to theacc.com to visit the Jack Sports Stop for real-time stats, photos, play-by-play, chat, and a whole lot more. And among those in the house supporting the BC Eagles, that's a quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons, Matt Ryan, who was the Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL. And you know he's pulling for his Eagles here tonight. Well, in this first half, he's seen the Eagles play pretty good, despite the fact that Tyrese Rice, the team's leading scorer, has gone 0 for 4. But Rakeem Sanders has made up for that. So has Corey Raji, and so has Josh Southern. Mamadi Diani and Sylvan Landesberg leading the Virginia Cavaliers. Well, you know, every one of our broadcasts is started with the help of David Cook, and we certainly appreciate it. He showcased the 2008 American Idol winner. He is opening our tournament with the song Heroes from the self-titled platinum-selling album David Cook. You can get more David Cook news, music, tour information, a lot more at davidcookofficial.com. And we're looking for heroes all through this tournament. And through the 56 years, so many have stood up and become heroes. And tonight in this game so far, well, it's Rakeem Sanders who's been the hero for Boston College, as the only player in the game in double figures. And somebody will step up in the second half, I'm sure. Right now it is Sanders, and he has his BC Eagles out on top of Virginia at halftime. Back at the Georgia Dome, ready for the second half of Game 4 here on this opening day of the ACC tournament. It's been a big half for Boston College. And we want to go back now to Steve Martin and Mike Cheminsky to call the second half. Stephen G-Man, I think the scary thing for Virginia is that Tyrese Rice is 0 for 4 in the first half. How many times have we seen him go over in the first half and really explode in the second?
Well, that's his MO, Mike. You're absolutely right. And he obviously sizes up the situation, gets others involved, and then when he feels he has to step up, you've got real trouble.
You know, we talked about it, he really has had no problem finding his offense, and he's gotten other people worked into it. Virginia, they need to find some other scorers. Mamadi Diani playing well of late, getting out running, finishing at the rim. He's got 9 points. And Sylvan Landisberg not performing at the free throw line, but coming up with 6. The rest of the team combined only 9 points. They've got to find other scorers. For BC, Corey Raji, terrific job on the offensive glass. 9 points for him. And then Rakim Sanders getting out and running. He's the only double-figure scorer in the game at 13.
Let's have a look at our CPI Security halftime stats. Boston College leading here by 12, and here's why. 35%, but they're owning the boards, and the points in the paint are significant.
They're running that tight flex. It's very difficult to get them inside, and Josh Southern doing a nice job in the paint as well.
2:28. Well, we'll get ready for the second half here. When we come back, the Boston College Eagles up by 12 over Virginia. What can Virginia cook up? We'll find out.
ACC basketball is brought to you by Chick-fil-A, by Progress Energy, by Gatorade, by Geico, by Hardee's, by Toyota, and by Red Lobster.
ACC basketball is presented in high definition. We're available by MFS Investment Management, a diverse range of products so advisors can choose what fits. Boston College by 12. Let's turn it over to Scott Brzezwanski, who talked with both coaches.
Well, for Dave Lato, he said it wasn't so much about X's and O's in the locker room. His message to his club was we just weren't into it mentally. Mentally, we weren't in the right place, so he really wants his team to focus here in the second half. For Boston College, they weren't worried that they didn't have any three-pointers or that Tyrese Rice only had 2 free throws. They love the tempo of the game. They're controlling it right now, and they want to continue at this pace.
Kim Sanders has done a good job with it at 13 points. Joe Trapani's back into the ball game now. Near steal by Mamadi Diani as the Virginia Cavaliers look to recapture, as you look at Al Skinner, the kind of atmosphere that they had at the very beginning of the game. They scored the game's first basket. Diani got that dunk.
Well, the thing is, too, Steve, you're not going to have to rely on the crowd here this evening. You've got to, whatever enthusiasm and energy you've got to create, you've got to do it collectively as a group.
Well, oftentimes, as you look at the leading scorers, Diani with 9 for Virginia. Sanders is the only double-figure scorer in the game. Raji with 9.
That's the second personal foul.
You get to this game, it's the true believers of both schools. Your neutral fans who've been here since 12.
Yep.
It's tough for them to hang in here. We got a whistle and a foul called by Bernard Clinton, by the way, who's one of our 3 officials. There's a look at the crowd. It always happens like this. But 26,000 attended this first session today, which is impressive. Les Jones, Mike Wood working with Bernard Clinton, who was in Moon Township, Pennsylvania with the Northeast Championship last night. Southern. Tunji Soroye did not hang on inside. It's going to be BC's. Panny. Southern and Rice get mixed up. Southern says, I'll be the point guard.
I don't think that's the way Al Skinner had it. And now the shot clock is on their back.
They're down to working their way to 5 right now. Corey Raji realizes it. Landisberg all but tied up Trapani inside. Baker. Landisberg for 3. Scott with a rebound. And he stepped out of bounds.
How many times do you see it where a big guy gets an offensive rebound, brings it down low, and it brings the point guard right into it? Nice position right here. He anticipates the shot, is working the weak side glass. Bring it down, and Tyrese Rice is right there. Just negate all of your size by bringing that ball down.
Trapani out at the elbow, guarded by Landisberg. We got a whistle and a foul, and it's going to be an offensive foul against Boston College.
Southern inside with an illegal screen.
Offensive foul.
It's his first.
Josh Southern.
Teams first.
That's his first team foul.
These two teams battling for the right to meet Duke in the quarterfinals tomorrow night. About 4 games for you tomorrow. We'll be on the air at 12 noon.
I feel it'll be a little different energy in the building tomorrow evening.
There's no doubt about it.
Wake Forest and Duke as the headliners.
The afternoon session with Florida State and North Carolina. And, of course, the intrigue with North Carolina and as it relates to Ty Lawson and his sore big toe. Foul's going to be on Raji. That's going to be his third. And that means Reggie Jackson's going to step in, and Corey Raji goes out. So Boston College gives up a little strength on the board.
Reggie Jackson always seems to play well, Steve, in the big stage against the big teams. He played great up against Duke up in Boston and had a terrific game against North Carolina.
Certainly did. He came of age in that game against North Carolina. Everybody did. He had 17 points that night. Sanders was strong.
Started calling him Mr. January.
Rice out front to Sanders. All the way to the baseline. Trapani has the ball knocked out of his hands and out of bounds. Now that's how it is. It's packed in at those 4 junctures at the top of the lane and the bottom of the lane.
If you ever, for people out there, if you ever remember taking square dancing in gym class, I mean, that's kind of what it's like in a very small area.
Rice had the ball stolen, stole it right back and put it in for his first field goal of the day.
But I love watching their flex, Steve, and watching how they run it and all the little intricacies of it and how they make eye contact and wave off passes.
Diani for 3. Mamadi Diani has his second 3 of the night, 39-28, Boston College.
Yeah, you get the sense, again, Landisburg needs to get on track, but Diani's going to have a 20-plus night for them to get back into this thing.
Diani's saying, I'll help you. You help me. Southern, baseline move, solid. Southern with 9.
He is a big body down low, and Soroye relies on his shot blocking ability. He wants to get some separation.
Diani attacks inside, almost made it work. Here's Landisburg. Diani gets by Southern. Didn't get the jump step shot work. Up in the front court. It goes to Trapani, and he'll put it in on the baseline.
I'll tell you one thing. Tyrese Rice is not afraid to let that half-court pass go. It's a couple times he threw it over the top to Sanders. That one to Trapani.
Boston College has opened up their biggest lead of the game, 15. As Virginia calls for timeout on that fast break as Trapani scores from the baseline. Let's update you on our Verizon text of war. We asked who will get to 20 points first. 51% of you say Sylvan Landisburg will over Tyrese Rice. Right now they're about even in that battle. Rice has 4 now. Landisburg has 7. There you go. Expect both numbers to go up considerably. 15-point Boston College lead, and they're putting some full court pressure on. Diani out front. Baker. Landisburg to Diani for 3. Diani with his 3rd triple of the night. He has 15.
Cross interchange right there between the two of them, and Diani got a great look at it.
Got a whistle and a foul out front. It's going to be on Savoye.
There's just the little dribble off, and Landisburg making the nice play, the little handoff, and then the screen.
Hassan Sen, number 5 in the lineup.
Hassan Sen is in the lineup now for Virginia. Bounce pass to Sanders. Trapani for 3. Boston College without a 3 in 6 tries. Jamil Tucker on the way for the drive. It wouldn't go down for him, but Rice commits the foul. And now that's going to be 3 on Tyrese Rice. Got a timeout. 4 minutes into this second half. Jamil Tucker headed to the free throw line. When we get back, his team trails by 12. Boston College by 12 into the second half. Let's send it over to Scott Przwanski, who's got a special ACC tournament guest.
Yeah, you never know who you might find in the Georgia Dome. This guy's usually here on Sundays. Matt Ryan, of course, former quarterback of Boston College, now starting QB for the Atlanta Falcons. And Matt, you look back at the way this season went for you professionally football. I mean, was it a blur? Was it what you expected?
You know, I don't know if you know what to expect coming into the NFL. It was a blur. It was a fun year to be able to go to the playoffs and you know, fall short of what we ultimately wanted to do, but still have a chance at it. It was a ton of fun.
This has got to be a lot of fun for you, too, here to be here in the Georgia Dome. I know it looks a little different. There's no turf out here. There's a court. But what's it like for you to be able to come watch your team play here in an ACC tournament?
Yeah, it's definitely different. You see the hardwood down, the dome's kind of cut in half. But it certainly is a lot of fun to be able to come out, watch the alma mater play, and a bunch of guys that you know, that you went to school with. You know, I'm a huge BC fan, follow the football program, follow the basketball program, so it's great to be able to see it.
All right, let me put you on the spot. Who would make the best NFL quarterback of the group that's out there on the floor?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'd go with Tyrese. You got, you know, a good point guard, understands decision-making. He's been in the program for, 4 years, has done a great job, developed into a really good player, so I'd go with the veteran point guard, Tyrese Rice.
You running for president? That's very diplomatic.
Very diplomatic.
Matt, thanks for your time. Continued success.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Back over to you guys.
Thanks, Scott. And of course, Virginia turns up the pressure, forcing a turnover after he shot by Tucker, and now we got a whistle and looks like a 3-second violation.
And all the BC sports represented down here this weekend, as the baseball team has traveled south as well to play Georgia Tech.
That's a big thing for baseball teams in New England to come down here and sample some decent weather. You see the scores of the ACC tournament, now the Big East, and then in the SEC. What's going on in Tampa?
So you think of where the Atlanta franchise was just a year and a half ago with the whole Michael Vick situation, and then what he has done to revitalize this whole city is absolutely amazing.
Second pick overall in the NFL draft. Here's Jackson at the top. Jackson and Rice have it. Rice playing with 3 fouls here. Boston College facing a challenge here by Virginia as they've turned up the pressure. Southern in the paint. Misses the shot, but gets fouled by Jamil Tucker.
Continue to go to that screening action along the free throw line with Southern and Trapani, and they continue to get good things out of it. Work inside. Southern is a big body, and that's the one you need down in that flex offense down low to get the duck ins. He works the offensive glass extremely well, has good hands. Good moves going right at the shot blocker, Soroye, on that move.
Southern on the free throw line up there for 2. He's at 10 points already, Mike. He had 12 points, 9 rebounds in the season finale against Georgia Tech.
Well, and you like the improvement, too. On the season, Steve, 64%, but over his last 8, 83% from the line. So getting much better there, knocks those 2 down.
And that's a great added compliment to what they've got on the perimeter. Get that guy who can board your misses and join Corey Raji as far as offensive rebounds are concerned. Here's Landisberg on the drive. We got a whistle and a foul.
0. And take him all the way to the rim.
Charged to Jackson.
Belgian Reggie.
You know, there's nothing like college basketball, and if you're celebrating the win, do it right. The way you celebrate says a lot about you and reflects on your school, so be responsible. Take care of yourself and your friends. A message from Anheuser-Busch.
14 fouls.
We got a whistle on the inbounds. Foul is going to be charged to...
That play didn't unfold the way Calvin Baker wanted. He saw something there, and it was a late cut.
Trapani picks up the foul. It's going to be his 3rd. I'm wondering if that's a dead ball foul.
Right down there, you threw an elbow.
Now we got an elbow thrown. All the action happening on the baseline without the benefit of the clock starting, I don't think, or getting very well and not very far underway. Sen with the foul. It's going to be his 2nd. So Sen picks up the foul with the elbow. Inbounds it comes now to Biko Paris. Virginia turning up the pressure now, trying to force turnovers and change his score run. They're down by 12. Trapani for 3. Rebound comes away to Virginia. Here's Diani. Pass ahead to Landisberg, tapped out. It's going to be Virginia ball on the inbound.
Pretty nice job by Biko Paris coming back in transition that time. You got the air ball, and that triggers the fast break, but he saves a layup there with some quick hands.
And he avoids the foul. Trapani comes out with his third foul and has to sit. This has been typical at Boston College with this transfer from Vermont. He was fouled out 4 times. Here is Baker trying to make it work from the corner. Scott with yet another rebound. Got a little too deep, now puts it up and off. Inside again, heavy action and a foul coming up.
1 foul. 1 foul.
It's going to be charged to Sanders.
Mike Scott has got to be disappointed in himself on that play. All he was working, and he had a couple of guards. Tyler Roach was the one who was blocking him out. I thought he rushed those 2 offensive rebounds up to the rim and missed.
16 foul on Boston College, and now travel violation on Virginia.
16 fouls.
You know, Scott has 10 rebounds already.
10th double-figure rebound game of the year, Steve.
Oh, steal, and he threw it right into backcourt. And right into the hands of Sanders, who lost the handle out of bounds. The end result is going to be Boston College ball. Dave Lato upset. Calvin Baker is too, because he was right on the scene.
It's just extraordinarily sloppy play in the last few possessions by both teams. BC very fortunate. Sometimes that ball has a mind of its own. Right now, nobody seems to want to take care of it very well.
Sanders tried to move his way around Baker and then forgot one important element, the ball.
This is, BC, Steve, they've got themselves a double-figure lead, and their 2 leading scorers, and Trapani and Rice, really have not been part of the action at all in this game.
And both, incidentally, are in foul trouble. So if Virginia makes a move here, they're going to be handicapped somewhat. Here's Sanders on the wing. Southern inside, travels with the ball. Our Chick-fil-A nugget of the game. Sylvan Landesberg had a career-high 32 points in the first meeting. Last time a Virginia freshman had 30 or more in an ACC game, Ralph Sampson. The golden era of Virginia basketball. Late 70s, early 80s.
3-time player of the year.
All knocked out of bounds.
Started with Wally Walker in '76, and
the only time they've won it.
Yep, their only championship, and then Jeff Lamp in the late 70s, who I played against for a number of years, followed up by Ralph Sampson, 3-time National Player of the Year.
The ACC in 80, 81, 82 was a battle every year between North Carolina and Virginia. Landesberg inside. We have a whistle and a foul coming up.
Eagle foul number 15.
It's going to be Sanders now. Virginia's bench production has been important this season, 25.4, as Dave has kind of mixed up the lineups a little bit. 12.4 rebounds. Tonight they've accounted for 8 points.
Well, and consider though, Steve, in that stretch where those numbers were built, that this guy, Mike Scott, was coming off the bench.
That's right.
As well as Sammy Zaglisky and Mamadi Diani.
And that lineup change, Mike, happened in the Boston College game February 4th at halftime. They were down by 20 at halftime, and Dave Lato wanted a different group to bring some motivation and some energy to the lineup, and he made some changes and came out with Cat and Sen in his starting lineup.
Yeah, right? And it was primarily energy that you touched on. They were just burying themselves with big deficits, and he said, look, I just want to get some guys out there going to be a little enthusiastic on the field.
Well, they cut a 20-point lead down to 8 twice in the final 2 minutes of that game. And then 2 games later snapped an 8-game losing streak. Jackson heads to the hole. Can't get it to work. Southern couldn't get a hand on it. Scott gets rebound number 11.
You can see that BC's offense really struggling without Rice on the floor.
Baker gets the runner, and now all of a sudden Virginia making noise. They're within 10. They're down to 8. Al Skinner makes the call from the bench. 9-2 run.
Just wonder if he's just trying to get under the 12-minute mark right here. Buy those guys a couple more minutes.
Here's Biko Paris. Paris and Roach in place of Rice and Trapani. Inside Southern, again, can't find the handle. Landisberg is there for the steal. Baker sees Scott streaking through the lane, but Jackson with a steal for Boston College. Baker with a tight cover on Paris now. Sophomore, native of New Orleans. Here's Sanders down the lane, puts it off the glass.
Well, and what happened, Steve, they've got their bigs up at the free throw line, and it really had the whole below area cleared out. And Sanders saw it, got a great step, and there was no help there defensively.
Baker screen and roll. They've got Pico Paris on Jamil Tucker on the opposite side of the floor. Mamadi Diani working on a big cover. Inside, Scott stripped of the ball by Sanders.
Good hands, and the ball goes straight down like that. It's usually a clean block.
Paris up and under. Sanders with a rebound. Blocked and fouled. And it's going to be Diani coming up with a foul. That's going to be 3 on Mamadi Diani. Timeout on the court. We're under 12 here in the second half. Boston College with the heroics of Rakim Sanders.
Take a look at Rakim Sanders, the ability to run the floor, get out, the beautiful catch, and then the strong body inside just powering. They have not been able to match up with him, Steve. 6 of 9 on the game, 15 points.
Our chief game summary as a result looks like this. Points in the paint. BC winning that war handily. Tyrese Rice with only 4 points, 1 of 5 from the field, but Rakim Sanders taking care of the offense. You know how long it's been? 3+ years, almost 4 years, since Boston College has gone without a 3-point field goal.
Al Skinner still, he's going to try to go this a little bit longer without Tyrese Rice in the game.
Yeah, you got that double-digit lead, and you got Sanders on the free throw line. This is a 4-day march for a team like Boston College, and if they are to advance here, as you look at double-figure scoring streaks, that's on the line too with Tyrese Rice, 21 straight.
Jack McCourt saw that go by the boards earlier. No Miami players in double figures in that game. Virginia Tech, a very solid defensive game.
It's good a defensive game. You can see played, actually. I thought they were very, very solid. Solomon Tatt's in the ball game now for Virginia for the first time. The ball slapped away, and we got a whistle and a foul. Offensive foul is going to be charged to Solomon Tatt. So Tatt comes in and commits the foul. It's a 17 foul on Virginia, but it's an offensive foul. It's the 8th turnover for the Cavaliers, who had 7 in the first half alone.
Really, Pico Paris, who's a strong guard in his own right, makes that play by trying to fight through and keep Landisberg from getting the ball. Farrakhan.
Got a whistle and another foul on Tatt. Tatt with a foul of possession. This one will send Boston College to the line, where they enjoyed much success in the first half and currently stand at 13 of 14. Mamadi Diani is getting ready to check back in. Solomon Tatt will head to the bench. See our scoreboard. Maryland in the early game tonight. Winner. Connecticut and Syracuse having a Big East quarterfinal war. And of course the big upset across the country. Oklahoma State knocks off Oklahoma in the Big 12. Sanders to the free throw line. Good piece of work for Rakim Sanders, the sophomore out of Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
It looked like Virginia, Steve, was trying to get back in it, made a little bit of run with Rice out of here, but all of a sudden, once again, BC has grabbed control of the tempo of the game and expanded their lead to 14.
6 unanswered points, 4 of them on the foul line. Diani to the foul line. Had his pass to send, snatched by Jackson. Jackson goes coast to coast and misses. Diani's pass deflected to Landisberg. Farrakhan from the elbow, and it's a transition basket for the Cavaliers. 51-39. Approaching the midway point of the second half. Paris playing steady ball with Tyrese Rice on the bench in foul trouble.
They will play him and Rice together, and just to get Rice off the ball, let him be more of a scorer.
Harris milks the clock down there. He's got Roach to the baseline, Jackson to the top. Courtney Dunn in the ball game replacing Southern. Jackson goes down into the lane. It's going to be a jump ball, possession Virginia.
No ball, possession to the Cavaliers.
Dave Lato looking for something that will get somebody off to help Mamadi Diani lead this team offensively. Landrisburg has struggled in this game. We got a whistle, offensive foul on Farrakhan. No, it's a turn. He palmed the ball, no foul. Jackson comes out. Tyrese Rice is back. Fans, sign up now for the ACC.com's free e-news to stay connected to ACC athletics through April 7th. You'll be entered to win some great ACC prizes each week of March and a basketball autographed by all 12 men's basketball coaches. Visit the ACC.com to sign up now.
This is that lineup I was talking about with Harrison. He is handling the ball handling responsibilities, and see if Rice how quickly he wants to work himself back into the game.
Rice at the top sees Roach as his high post man. Shot clock now works its way to 5. Rice in the paint. He'll take it himself. Tipped up and off by Courtney Dunn. Here comes Farrakhan. To the top, Landisberg. Bounce pass, Tucker. Hesitation basket and one. Tucker with his first field goal.
55, Courtney Dunn, that's his second.
Dunn committing the foul. It'll be his second.
Pretty nice play by Farrakhan. Just so he got behind his defensive player, got his head turned. Paris really lost sight of where Tucker was, and he's a strong body, can finish inside. Had a season high 21 at Maryland earlier this year.
Southern 52.
Corey Raji getting ready to come in. They've got 3 players in foul trouble. Raji's got 3. Rice has 3. Trapani has 3. Harris and Sanders step off.
Well, and there comes a point in time, Steve, you know, that you have to learn how to play with fouls. And BC is kind of headed into that time frame of the game right now.
Tucker makes the 3-point play. The lead is 9, 51-42. 9:21 left to play. Trapani's back on the floor as well as Rice. Jackson. Trapani inside. Shot blocked by Sen, and Sen.
You can't throw a weak offering up against Sen. You've got to try to be as physical as you can. Go right at his chest.
Tucker with the 3. Rice with the rebound. 4-on-1 break. Trapani is fouled.
See, and that's the type of shot, Steve, that just triggers a break. And Jamil Tucker really surprised his teammates with that jump shot, and there was no defensive balance at all. He did just very well to get back and put Trapani on the line.
Baker with his 3rd foul. You know, at one point in the not too distant past here in this game, Virginia had 6 possessions and 5 turnovers. Dave Lato will look at that part of the comeback attempt and rule the open possessions that weren't closed successfully by the Cavaliers as Trapani hits the free throw.
They were really in pretty good shape at the half. Only 7 turnovers. They've got 15 now in the game, or 17, I should say.
So 10 in the second half. Trapani hits the double dip.
And a lot of those, and what you alluded to, a lot of those, Steve, were at the time when Rice was out of the game. So they had a lot of firepower that wasn't there. Virginia's definitely left a lot on the table.
Not to mention what they've left on the foul line tonight. And Farrakhan shuffles both feet, gets the travel. This all with Landisberg parked on the bench here for Virginia at this point. Sylvan Landisberg's first ACC tournament action has not been strong yet, but there's still plenty of time left. You see him getting up to the scorer's table. Trapani. Southern. Back to the top, Rice. Tucker closes out nicely on him. Shot clock under 10. Here is Jackson, partially blocked shot. The rebound is Southern.
A good play by Rice, and then Southern, he knew he wasn't an opportunity to score, so he just kicks it back out. You get a fresh 35 seconds.
They've eaten about 45 seconds off this clock.
That's why it's important at the end of that shot clock, Steve, a guy like with Jackson, just to get it up on the rim, to give yourself a chance at an offensive rebound.
And here's a whistle and a foul on Sen, as he put the knee out to try to stop Rice from going around. All season long, Champion Apparel is showcasing the tradition and history of the ACC. Tonight we look back at the miracle in Landover. In 1976, Virginia won their only ACC title. Head coach Terry Holland led the sixth-seeded Cavs to 3 upsets of nationally ranked teams. Wally Walker, the tournament MVP, as Virginia beat number 4 ranked North Carolina in the finals, and that's our champion. How you play. It was Terry Holland's 2nd season in Charlottesville. Lots happened since then. Shortly thereafter, he would successfully out-recruit the rest of the ACC for Ralph Sampson and go head-to-head with North Carolina for the ACC title for 2 or 3 years.
Great battles.
Oh, yeah. The free throw. Nobody's missed anything here in the second half. We put that hex on Tyrese Rice as he heads to the line. Tyrese Rice with 5 points, and he is just 2 behind Jared Dudley. Can move past Jared Dudley with a field goal after this made foul shot.
Dudley was a guy, especially at BC, who would score a lot of his points after intermission, kind of work himself slowly into the game.
Likes to get his teammates into the action, and he takes over. Gianni at the top. 7.5 to play. The lead is 13 for Boston College. Winner here plays Duke tomorrow night.
They're just really, any kind of screen, they're just jumping out and leaving Sen completely alone, making sure that they cover up the scores on the perimeter.
Here comes Gianni off the wing. The 3 doesn't work. Rice gets the rebound. And here come the Eagles. Raji on the way. Hits the bucket. He's got 11. That's BC's first field goal in almost 5 minutes. The 8 points they've scored since then have come from the strike. Under 7 to play. Baker inside. No.
That's, again, I talked about playing with fouls. Rice doing it that time, keeping his hands up, but really bothering the play.
Eagles look to try to put this thing away. Here's Raji inside. Landisburg boards the miss. Ahead, Gianni. Steps sprightly to the lane and forces the foul on Raji. Ori Raji with the foul. His brother B.J. Raji, a great football player at Boston College, just completed his eligibility. Raji's a 4.
First team All ACC. Projected as a top 5 draft choice this year in the NFL.
You see what's coming up tomorrow. Second game, Georgia Tech. Yes, they beat Clemson today, 86-81. They play Florida State. Tomorrow night, it'll be Maryland and Wake Forest in the first game, and then Duke awaits the winner of this game. Raji out, Sanders is in. Good use of the substitution around here by Al Skinner to avoid the foul trouble. And right now, time working on his side. 6.5 to play. Gianni with a pair.
Unless they get specific runouts on long jump shots and long misses, they look for BC to kind of grind some things out in the half court, run their offense, be as methodical as they can.
Here's Jackson, finds Trapani, and he's fouled by Tucker, who moved him about 5 feet.
12.
Great curl action by Trapani on that screen down along the baseline by Rice.
Third foul on Tucker now, and Trapani goes to the free throw line. Transferred from Vermont and has stepped in and filled in nicely. 6 double-doubles on the season. Double figures in 24 games, which is remarkable that he's fouled out 4.
And I remember, Steve, last year, and that's the thing with the transfer, the coaching staff, all they could do was talk about Trapani, and they can't wait for Joe to get eligible next year, and he certainly has proven them to be prophetic.
Just a sophomore, 8 points for him tonight, 59-44. That matches the biggest lead of the game now for Boston College. Inside it goes, Scott. Baker looks in the direction of Diani, and he is fouled as he went in. And Southern's going to pick up the foul. Want to see highlights of today's game? Well, you can check out the Haviland ACC basketball highlights, as a matter of fact. Each week you can view action from all Raycom ACC basketball telecasts and other archived video. Log on to raycomsports.com or the ACC.com for those clips and more from around the ACC. Diani dips and hits. Mamadi Diani with 18.
And for him, I mean, we talked about the struggles that he's had all year, Steve, in his senior year and not playing. And so you kind of like the finish that he's had, especially for the senior day. Such a terrific scoring game against Maryland and getting the win in his last home game.
Well, you wondered when he went 4 games not playing due to a coach's decision if he'd ever play again in his senior season for Virginia. But Dave Leto came around back to him, and he's responded nicely. Downey with 19. Virginia 9 of 9 from the stripe after going 2 of 9 in the first half. 5.5 to play, 59-46. Eagles are going to take their time. Jackson inside. Here's Sanders working the low post. Nice rebound by Tucker.
Opportunity missed, but with Sanders, they can get that post up over Diani anytime they want to.
Calvin Baker finds a cutter. Baseline, that's Tucker.
He's had a couple good plays where he has taken advantage of the defender losing sight of where he is, working along the baseline.
Virginia will try some more full court pressure. This rattled BC earlier when Rice was out of the ball game. Now we got a whistle and a timeout taken here by Reggie Jackson as he found himself surrounded on the end line. So it's a 30-second timeout. Senior swingman Mamadi Diani scored 12 points in 17 minutes against 13th ranked Wake Forest. Then on Sunday, as we've referred to often, his senior day won't soon be forgotten. He put 23 points down on Maryland. Most importantly, scored the winning basket in a win over their arch rival. Right now, he's trying to keep his college basketball career alive with one more win. And the right to meet Duke in the quarterfinals tomorrow night in the last game of quarterfinal Friday. Some intriguing matchups tomorrow. Virginia Tech needing a win against North Carolina. And North Carolina wondering whether or not they're going to have Ty Lawson.
Well, that's the game was up in Blacksburg, and North Carolina won that game but only scored 86 points. I wonder, of course, with Ty Lawson, if he doesn't play, then a lot of that responsibility falls to Larry Drew.
Coming up.
The game is just played with a different gear that you can only expect so much out of people. But Lawson plays it at a different gear than everybody else.
Well, Hansbrough has always been this season the default setting. You're going to get 20 from him. And Ty Lawson has proved that he can help win games and the big ones especially. Landisberg puts it up again, won't go. Boy, he has struggled tonight. Trapani with the rebound.
Yeah, Landisberg and Scott. Josh Southern and Courtney Dunn have done a nice job neutralizing the interior scoring. And the key thing with Landisberg, he hasn't gotten good looks, Steve, and he hasn't gotten to the free throw line very much.
3 of 9 from the field, 3 of 6 from the free throw line. Foul against Virginia. Trapani will go to the line now. And this is the double bonus coming up now for Boston College. Both teams are in that situation now from here on out. We have 4:43 left. Follows on Baker.
Diani marvelously consistent this year. 24 double-figure scoring games out of 31.
First free throw miss for Boston College in the second half. 60-48 the lead. Tucker with a 3.
3-point basket, number 12.
10 points for him.
Yeah, he's a guy you have to respect, Steve. 40% from behind the arc. Doesn't take a ton of threes, but very capable.
For a man his size, not a bad skill to have. Out front, here's Rice, screened by Southern. Scott on the switch. Trapani with the 3. That's the first three-pointer of the night
3-point basket.
for Boston College. Tucker, three more the other way.
Always a good way. I mean, he was clearly out in transition, hunting the three-point line.
63-54, clock moving. 3:48 to go. Trapani gets it into Rice. We had a three-point war in the first game tonight between NC State and Maryland. Game that Maryland fell down 21-8 and then roared back on the strength of three Eric Hayes three-pointers. He finished with 5 on the night. Jackson looking for Trapani. Here's Rice. Two defenders follow him, leaving Southern open underneath.
Right, you know, with Southern, he has really played well off that screen roll with Rice. So much of the defense concentrating on number 4.
Outside a three for Diani. Mamadi Diani with his 4th three-pointer, 22 points. Virginia will not go away.
Tucker and Diani fueling this comeback.
We got a whistle on the screen. We got a foul coming up.
32.
And it's going to be charged to Scott of Virginia. Cavaliers just 8 back. Our Red Lobster nothing but net shot of the game involves Rakim Sanders. You remember this fast break. Not a dribble.
Yeah, just a great over-the-shoulder pass by Rice to look ahead. Always, as soon as he gets the ball, looking ahead.
Rakim Sanders leads the way for Boston College with 19 points. Trapani's not far behind. Neither is Josh Southern, who has tied a career high here with 13. Sanders going to the stripe now.
Well, the thing you like about Southern, it's a terrific line. 13 points, 8 rebounds, but 5 of 7 shooting. So he's been very efficient inside, especially playing off that screen roll with Tyrese Rice.
Continuation of his fine field goal shooting over the last 4 coming in. 12 of 18 as you look at Josh Southern. Sanders hits the first free throw.
Much more balanced attack scoring offensively for BC. 4 players in double figures. Right now it's really Diani and Tucker who are carrying Virginia, trying to get them back in this game.
Virginia scored on 3 straight three-point field goals. The 2-point attempt by Baker's erased by Southern. With 2:42 left to play. The lead is 10. Winner catches Duke. 3 by Tucker, rolls out. Trapani with a miss. Rice hustles it up. Up and over for Sanders on the baseline.
Once again, BC stuck in that position. A little like Virginia going to claw their way back in, but they've extended to a double-figure lead.
Rice with 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 6 points. Inside, nice cut by Diani, and a pass by Baker. Diani with a new season high of 24, and then the ball thrown away. Diani says he never touched it. Mamadi Diani.
Not going quietly into that night.
No, he's not. DeMatha High graduate. Potomac, Maryland's his home, the senior. Doesn't want this to be his final game at Virginia. Baker needs an outlet in a hurry. Takes it in, the floater over Southern works. It's an 8-point game with 2 to play. And the pressure giving Boston College some fits. Trapani in backcourt, trap. Jackson ahead, they just make it across with 2 seconds to spare. Raji is fouled, or rather Rice is fouled, and it's fouled by Baker.
Yeah, it's one of those plays too. That was a turnover waiting to happen for Boston College, and I think Baker really bailed him out. He's doing the little tiptoe along the sideline.
That's Rice's tribute to the River Dance.
Rice.
Taps his way to a foul by Baker, and he'll go to the free throw line now for 2. And that, our Pepsi players of the game, Mamadi Diani. Great performance for him. 24 points, 4 from three-point land. Rakim Sanders, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 7 of 11 from the field.
This is the good news, bad news of this tournament. You survive and you win and you get to play another day. The bad news, you get the top 4 seeds looking at you who have been resting and waiting for you.
They've been watching, they've been scouting, they've been seeing who's going hot. And the crowds will be even bigger tomorrow. Landisberg drives and gets himself to the foul line for the first time in the second half. Or second time in the second half.
But it wouldn't surprise me, Steve, that it's an interesting phenomenon that all the teams that have kind of tasted battle today, I would expect them to get off to a quicker start than the team, than the top 4 seeds are just kind of sitting there waiting. It's just, you've been out on the floor, they've played a game, they're amped up.
Well, especially the 2 afternoon entrants, Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech, the way that they played today. Virginia Tech with an excellent defensive outing. They kept Jack McClinton under double figures.
And somehow Virginia Tech, and you hate to have injury be a part of it, but it's a fact of life and it's a fact of sport. If Lawson isn't playing, then it's going to be on Virginia Tech to make that a 1 or 2 minute game. And Seth Greenberg is a knack for doing that.
Well, they've suffered 5 one-possession losses this season. They also have 3 one-possession wins.
Tyrese Rice channeling Bob Cousy on the backcourt that time. Taking it on himself and getting it past the press.
90 seconds to go. Under that now. We got finally a foul. Going to be charged to Virginia. And it's going to go to Mike Scott. Well, it all starts tomorrow at noon. It's quarterfinal action in the ACC tournament. JT Thompson, great game, great couple of games now for Virginia Tech down the straight. And will Ty Lawson play? And if so, how much? That's at noon. Then the second game of the day, Tony Douglas and the Florida State Seminoles going up against the upstart of the tournament, the 12th seed, Georgia Tech, with a big win today. Tyrese Rice to the free throw line.
Boy, you just wonder, and I know that Georgia Tech had injuries and there were a lot of issues that they played through, but watching them play today, you wonder how they went through the whole season with only 2 wins in conference.
Oh, yeah. Donnie Lawal, double-double machine. Clinch at 32. Tyrese Rice now moves ahead of Jared Dudley on the all-time scoring list at Boston College to 5th. Rebound comes to Sanders with 1:21 left to go. Now a foul on Landisberg. In the Big East, they're all tied up, Syracuse and Connecticut. That's been a wild finish in the Big East to the regular season. Pittsburgh coming on. Florida now taking control over Arkansas in the SEC.
Kansas getting beaten by Baylor in the Big 12 tournament. That was the biggest upset of the day there, along with the Oklahoma State win over Oklahoma.
Pittsburgh apparently has lost to Connecticut, or rather to West Virginia.
Huge win for Bob Huggins.
Baker. Here comes Diani into our final minute. Baker. Teardrop doesn't go. Southern gets the rebound, and he immediately gets hammered in backcourt by Baker, who may have fouled out. Jamil Tucker loses his shoe in the process. But the outcome starting to become clear here. Boston College looks like they're going to advance into the quarterfinal round and take on Duke tomorrow night. Baker now has fouled out.
BC winning that game up at Chestnut Hill earlier this year, 80-74 against the Blue Devils.
And of course, that's one of the things that makes their resume for the NCAA very good. Wake and Maryland at 7 in the only meeting between these two. Wake survived by 2 over Maryland. And then Duke and Boston College, that's the 9:30 game. And of course, as Mike said,
that game up, Wake Forest did that at Maryland.
And we talked about what Boston College has done, their tournament resume. There they are with 21 wins, 9-7 in the conference. Strength of schedule, a little off their RPI rating, but they had great wins over Duke, North Carolina, and Florida State in conference.
Well, I mean, you look at what Al Skinner has done, all-time winningest coach at BC. He's gotten him in the postseason 7 of the last 8 years, 6 of those times to the NCAA tournament.
And you know, he has piled up the best record outside of North Carolina and Duke in conference games. North Carolina has 50 wins. Duke has 46. That man has led Boston College to 34.
And took a game that we did, took his team the first year in conference to the championship game in this tournament against Duke and gave them everything they wanted.
Well, they did. They certainly did. been to the semifinals already twice in their short tournament life.
Traveling.
Got a traveling violation on Virginia. Well, Boston College has had a very good life in the ACC so far. And they're getting their fourth tournament off to a great start.
Hey, I need that. Come on, trouble.
There's Sanders in backcourt. He's double teamed. Can he get out of it? And it went off Jackson in the corner, so it's going to be Virginia ball with 46 seconds left to go.
And a lot of the problem that Boston College is having with this pressure is they're getting funneled into the deep corners and they're really getting buried. They've got no outlets to pass to.
Gianni can't control the inbounds, and now we got a whistle. And a foul coming up on Mike Scott. Well, you look at guys like Mike Scott, Sylvan Landesberg, Sammy Zaglinski as Scott fouls out, and you say the future is pretty good for Virginia basketball. Here are Toyota brackets, and they're all complete for the first round today. Virginia Tech advances, so does Georgia Tech. In the night session, Maryland will play Wake Forest. That'll be our first game tomorrow night, and then we'll wrap it up with Duke and Boston College.
So we're going to call this one, eh? We're going to go Florida in 2000 and tuck this one away. We're going to go Al Gore on this game.
We, yeah, that no. I think we're past the Dimple Chad thing here.
Okay.
Don't you?
42 seconds. Yeah, we'll do that.
All right. Jackson. I mean, they've already done it for us in the truck, so we might as well go along with it. But we agree. Mamadi Diani comes out.
And that's nice. That's a lot of class by Dave Lato to give him a little bit of a curtain call. And that is a heck of a way to go out your last game your senior year. You get your career high. It was a very, very difficult year for that young man.
Jackson makes the free throw. It's a 13-point lead. Diani from Potomac, Maryland. Here comes Landesberg. He represents the new wave at Virginia. Farrakhan for three. Kim Sanders gets the rebound, and we're well within our final half minute of play here as the first round will come to a close. Tyrese Rice will let the clock run down, and Boston College will look forward to a date with Duke and a return matchup. And Duke, I'm sure, is looking forward to an opportunity to correct the score with Boston College. It all leads to a great quarterfinal day that's ahead of us. Boston College 76, Virginia 63. When we come back, Mike Hogwood puts the finishing touches on the first round from Atlanta.